I'm here in what is considered the old burying ground on the corner of Scotland Road and Main Street in Orange, just a short distance from the West Orange border. The first person interred here was Anthony Olaf, who passed away in 1723. His original tombstone was replaced in 1969 and is believed to be the first settler in what today is West Orange, and his grave is reported to be the oldest one known in Essex County. The old burying ground predates the Revolutionary War and now is practically obscured by the hectic pace of the 21st century. These graves mostly belong to the first settlers of the Oranges, and many lived in what today is West Orange before it separated from Orange. Among the recognizable family names are the Dodds, the Condits, the Freemans, the Williams, and the Harrisons, just to mention a few. During the Revolutionary War in 1776, it is reported that a detachment of British soldiers set up an encampment here while pursuing a division of the American Army through the area. Today, there are at least 78 graves of soldiers who fought in the Revolutionary War for American independence buried here, many of them belonging to the Essex militia. Time has not been kind to many of the tombstones which have stood here for more than 2 centuries. The combined elements of weather and neglect have left many of them crumbling and deteriorating, and some of them have entirely disappeared. Each grave represents the life of a person who we will never know, whose story has likely been lost forever to history. But there is at least one person who is buried here whose story survives 200 years after her death. I'm talking about Mary Williams, who died in 1816 and is now buried here. She lived on a small farm in what today is West Orange with her husband Nathaniel and their 8 children. Amazingly, or more appropriately, more sadly, Mary and Nathaniel stood in this exact spot in 1770 when they buried 2 of their youngest children who died only months apart. This small burial plot where they once stood remains unchanged as they knew it. It's here where they mourned the loss of their children and shed their tears. It's probably the only piece of land that remains intact anywhere to the day and age of Mary and Nathaniel Williams. When Mary Williams passed away in 1816, she was buried here between the graves of her daughter Johanna and her son John. But noticeably missing from here is the grave of her husband Nathaniel. And that is the very reason why the story of Mary Williams endures to this day. We often think about the American Civil War as dividing families and brother fighting against brother. But the story of Mary and Nathaniel Williams 85 years before the Civil War is a case of a family divided over the cause for American independence. Nathaniel Williams is not buried in this cemetery because he remained loyal to the British and left to join the British Army in New York City with 2 of his oldest sons. He eventually died there of smallpox in 1782 and never returned to West Orange. His wife Mary remained behind because she was committed to the cause for American independence. Her next youngest son, Zenas, fought with the Americans and is one of the Revolutionary War soldiers buried here. His name is mentioned on this memorial plaque as being in the old burying ground, but the location of his grave is unknown. It is also not known if Nathaniel Williams and his 2 oldest sons ever faced their brother and his son Zenas on a battlefield, but it divided their family and forever changed their life. As previously mentioned, the Williams family was one of the earliest settlers in present-day West Orange prior to the American Revolution. At the time, it was mostly wilderness, and the area had no name and became known simply as Williamstown. When America declared independence in 1776, not everyone was in support of the cause. This was especially true here in West Orange with the Williams family. The Williams were Tories, which was the name given to all those who were loyal to the British. The Williams and other Tories would frequently gather at this location, and the name soon changed from Williamstown to the name of Tory Corner, as it is still known today. Nathaniel Williams and his younger brother Benjamin are specifically mentioned on this monument at Tory Corner today. Both brothers were ingrained with a deep loyalty to the British Crown and were unsympathetic to the Patriots, who they saw as starting a rebel uprising. Mary Williams is also mentioned on the backside of this monument, where her heroic story receives little recognition, but I'll get to her in a moment. When fighting started in the Revolutionary War in April of 1775 at Concord and Lexington in Massachusetts, New Jersey was primarily controlled by the British. The Williams brothers at the time were considered wealthy and living a very comfortable lifestyle. But that began to change on December 25, 1776, when George Washington crossed the Delaware River and won strategic victories at Trenton and Princeton. These surprise attacks set in motion what would slowly change the tide of the war. But for Washington to take control of New Jersey, he needed to identify the Tories and all those loyal to the British. In the spring of 1777, Washington issued orders to local militias to identify the Tories. This put the Williams brothers in a difficult position. They had been offered protection by the British, but the increased presence and growing strength of a ragtag American army in New Jersey endangered their property holdings and comfortable lifestyles. I'm on Valley Way just off of Eagle Rock Avenue, and this is where the Williams brothers lived. On the west side, where the current day offices for the West Orange Board of Education was Benjamin Williams, and on the east side, where Our Lady of Lourdes School is, lived Nathaniel and Mary Williams. When Washington had issued the order for local militias to identify Tories, he did so to offer them a pardon if they would take a pledge to support the cause for American independence. August 5, 1777 was set as the deadline to receive the pardon, and Benjamin Williams reluctantly took the oath and accepted the pardon, not because he believed in American independence, but because he wanted to preserve his comfortable lifestyle and protect his property. Nathaniel Williams, on the other hand, could not accept the pardon because he was deeply committed to the British as a loyal Tory. Somewhere in this parking lot once stood the farmhouse of Nathaniel and Mary Williams. It was here where they had the serious and emotion-filled debate over the cause for American independence that would change their lives. Nathaniel could not bring himself to take the oath of allegiance to the American Patriots like his brother Benjamin had. Instead, he decided to leave here with his two oldest sons to join the British forces in New York City. Mary Williams refused to join him and remained behind because she was deeply committed to the cause for American independence and believed in Washington's ultimate victory. It caused great hardship for her family, but it was a sacrifice she was willing to make in the name of liberty. Although the farm was confiscated once Nathaniel fled, she was able to purchase it at auction and lived here to her death in 1816. As I previously mentioned, her next oldest son, Zenith, who remained here with her, became a soldier and fought for the Americans with the Essex militia. The Revolutionary War had not only divided their family, but it also caused deep resentment as brother faced brother and father faced son, perhaps not on the battlefield, but certainly in an ideological stance for American independence. On October 23, 1926, the Daughters of the American Revolution recognized Mary Williams' sacrifices and hardships. They placed a bronze tablet on a boulder in front of the old Eagle Rock School dedicated to her memory. The school is now the offices for the West Orange Board of Education, and the bronze tablet was stolen in 1974 and was never replaced. The Daughters of the American Revolution also placed a small marker on the back of Mary Williams' tombstone, which is still there, but doesn't tell her courageous story. Only the back of the Tory corner marker makes a brief mention, and her story has become mostly forgotten with the passage of time. But thanks to the Downtown West Orange Alliance and the generosity of public contributions, a new marker will soon be placed here, honoring Mary Williams 200 years after her death, across from the farm where she once lived. The Mary Williams marker will be the second in a series, and one honoring Anna Easter Brown has already been placed near the West Orange Public Library. My mission is to raise private funds for the placement of historical markers all along Main Street. Each one would be identical to the Anna Easter Brown and Mary Williams marker, creating a distinct and recognizable brand depicting both individuals such as Williams and Brown and other places of interest relating to our rich local history in downtown West Orange. So please consider making a donation in any amount, because every penny donated will go directly to funding this project. All contributions are fully tax deductible because the Downtown West Orange Alliance is a New Jersey nonprofit 501c3 organization. So our story ends where it began, in the old burying ground where Mary Williams is buried. Her fateful decision was monumental, and I wonder if any of us could have made the same decision. Would we have allowed such a decision to split our family for a greater cause such as American independence as she did? She must have had some vision about the future of this country, but she could have never realized how right she was. Maybe it's 200 years too late, but thank you, Mary Williams, for being an American patriot who we remember today. For the Downtown West Orange Alliance, I'm Joe Fagan, and I'll see you on Main Street.
Here I sit on Buttermilk Hill. Who can blame me? Cry my fill, and every tear would turn a mill. Johnny has gone for a soldier. Me, oh my, I loved him so. Broke my heart to see him go, and only time will heal my woe. Johnny has gone for a soldier. I'll sell my rod, I'll sell my reel. Likewise I'll sell my spinning wheel, and buy my love a sword of steel. Johnny has gone for a soldier.